Recording in progress.
Okay, so once again, good morning all. So in the last lecture, we have started with the type number 1 of the chapter number 1, that is problems on the stress and strain calculation. And in the previous lecture, we have covered all the theoretical parts. So we have covered all the important definitions like stress, strain, deformations, their important formulas, then some introduction related to the elastic constants, their important definitions. Then we have discussed about the stress strain diagram for the ductile and the brittle material. And in the previous lecture, we are dealing with the type number 1, that is problems on the stress strain calculation, and we have discussed about all the important formulas which are required to solve the numericals based on the type number 1, that is stress and strain. And in the previous lecture, you are having this list of the formula in front of you. By using that formulas, we can solve or we can attempt the problems based on the stress calculation, strain calculation, deformation calculation, and some another parameters. And for the type number 1, whatever the formulas are required, so these are the 6 important formulas which are sufficient to solve the numericals based on the type number 1. In addition to that, some constant parameters will be given. Okay, so like Young's modulus E, then shear modulus G, bulk modulus K, then some Poisson's ratio is also given. So like that constant parameters, we have to take that values as it is in our calculation. But before that, before these calculations, the conversion part is very, very important. So for example, if the force are given in kilonewton, so it is very important to convert that kilonewton value in Newton multiplied by 10 raised to 3. Sometimes the diameter, length, width, depth, these dimensions will be given in meter. So you have to convert all those dimensions in mm multiplied by 10 raised to 3. Sometimes the dimensions are given in centimeter. So immediately before solving the numericals, so whatever the given data we are writing, in that given data only, we have to convert all the parameters in EMM. In addition to that, one more important conversion is there for the Young's modulus. So if the Young's modulus is given at the end of the statement like this, take capital E is equal to 200 gigapascal, then 210, 180, 190. So like this, it is given at the end of the statement. So what we have to do, if the value is given in gigapascal, in the previous lecture I have told, so if the E is equal to 200 gigapascal and we have to convert it in Newton per mm. So simply you have to write that is 200 into 10 raised to 3 Newton per mm square. So whatever the value is given in gigapascal, to this value you have to just multiply by 10 raised to 3, and immediately that gigapascal value will be converted in Newton per mm square. So like this conversion, or many times the value is given in Newton per mm square, no problem, you can take as it is. But if it is given in gigapascal, simply you have to multiply by 10 raised to 3 and convert it in Newton per mm square. In addition to that, again two conversions we have discussed. 1 megapascal is equal to 1 Newton per mm square, and 1 mega Newton per meter square is equal to 10 raised to 6 Newton per mm square, and it becomes as it is, that is 1 Newton per mm square. So these are the list of the formulas and the conversion factors which we have to consider. These conversion factors are important for in the whole subject. So whatever the 8 chapters we are studying in this particular subject. So for all the 8 chapters, the conversion of Young's modulus, modulus of rigidity, and bulk modulus is very, very important. If you made mistake in this particular conversion, or sometimes if you made mistakes in the conversion part, that is you forget to convert the value in centimeter to mm, meter to mm, kilonewton to Newton, so you will not get the correct answer. All the answers will be different. So before solving the numerical, it is very important. Check the given data, read the statement carefully, write down all the given data, and check whether that given data is given in required unit or not. If it is not given, then immediately convert it multiplying by 10 raised to 3 wherever it is required. According as per the requirement, you have to just do it, and that converted values you have to use for the further calculation. So this process you have to apply to the each and every chapter. Okay, so this is the list of the formulas, and this is the conversion factors. So now, based on this particular type number 1, we will solve the two numericals. Very simple and the straightforward numericals are there. Only you have to understand the things. So this numericals, it will not ask it in the examination, but how the statements will be given, how the parameters are mentioned, how to check or identify or check the meaning of that particular statement, so that we are going to understood through this particular type number 1. It is not asked in the examination, but before solving remaining type of the numericals, it is very important to solve some numericals on the type number 1. So through this particular calculation, you will easily get how to do the calculation and how to go for the conversion parameters. Okay, so these are the list of the formulate, and in the previous lecture, I hope everyone has taken this list and this conversion factors in your notebook. Now, this is the problem number 1 in front of you. So simply you just we will read the statement carefully, just concentrate what I am explaining, how I am doing the conversions. Understand first two problems very carefully, and simultaneously, if it is possible to you, you can solve it. And if you will get the answer, then you can send in the chat box. But before that, just for the problem number 1, you just see here, we will check the procedure. I will tell the procedure and then we will solve. Okay, so what is the statement? First, reading of the statement is very important, and in that particular statement, sometimes you have to draw the figures also, because if you draw the figure from the statement, easily you will get that what exactly they have told in the statement and what exactly we have to calculate. So this is very important. Reading of the statement हे एकदम व्यवस्थित वाचायचं. त्या स्टेटमेंटवरून आपल्याला काय करावं लागते, एक फिगर काढावी लागते, आणि त्या फिगरनुसार आपल्याला थोडाफार तरी अंदाज येतो की what is given in the statement and what exactly we have to calculate. Okay, so reading of the statement is very important. Let us see. A rod of 1 centimeter long. A rod means immediately the figure is in front of you. Rod means it is circular in cross section. Rod means it is circular in cross section. Immediately you have to imagine it. A rod of 150 centimeter long and diameter 2 centimeter. See, if one rod is there, its length is 150 centimeter, its diameter is 2 centimeter, and subjected to axial pull off, and subjected to axial pull of 20 kilonewton. Subjected to axial pull of 20 kilonewton. If elasticity of material is 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square. Elasticity of material means it is called as a Young's modulus, or it is also called as a modulus of elasticity. So these all the three elastic constant represents the properties of the material. So E, G and K, all the three terms are related to the material properties only. So sometimes the different meaning will be mentioned in the statement. So here they have mentioned elasticity of the material. Okay, 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square. Full stop. Find stress, strain and elongation of the rod. Find stress, strain and elongation of the rod. So if you understand the meaning of this particular statement, one rod is there, its length is 150 centimeter and its diameter is 2 centimeters, subjected to axial pull. Axial pull means the force is applied along the axis. What is the meaning of this? The force is applied along the axis, and whatever the force is applied, it is pulling force. Now please tell me, if it is pulling force, whether this force is tensile or compressive. If this is the pulling force, it is tensile or compressive?
Tensile.
Tensile. Okay, yes, tensile. Then elasticity of material is given, means Young's modulus is given as a 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square. So already Young's modulus is given in Newton per mm square. So 2 into 10 raised to 5, this value we have to take as it is in the calculation. And what parameters we have to calculate? We have to calculate the stress value, we have to calculate the strain value, and we have to calculate the elongation. Elongation is also called as a deformation of rod, which is indicated by delta L. Okay, so if you look at, or if I will draw the figure, if I will draw the figure according to this statement, let us see what exactly they have given, that we can understand. So this is the rod. Okay, this is the rod, this is the axis of the rod. Okay, this is the axis. Its length is 1 centimeter, sorry, 150 centimeter. Diameter is 2 centimeter. What is the pulling force they have given? 20 kilonewton here and 20 kilonewton here. So according to the statement, I have drawn the figure. One circular rod is there having length 150 centimeter, diameter 2 centimeter, and it is subjected to the axial pull. How it is called as axial pull? Because if you see the 20 kilonewton at the left side and 20 kilonewton at the right side, these two forces are applied along the axis and they are subjected to the pulling forces. That means according to the directions of the 20 kilonewton, this body is under the pulling condition. बघा ह्या 20 kilonewton लेफ्ट साइडला अप्लाय केलेला आहे, 20 kilonewton हा राईट साइडला अप्लाय केलेला आहे. त्याच्या डायरेक्शनचा जर आपण विचार केला तर आपण असं सांगू शकतो की दिस बॉडी इज अंडर टेन्शन और इट इज अंडर द पुलिंग कंडिशन. ओके, constant parameter Young's modulus is given and we have to calculate the further parameters. If you look at to the conversion parts, so the length is given in centimeter. The length is given in centimeter. So immediately we have to convert all the dimensions in mm. So here I will write length is equal to 1 centimeter. So if I have to convert it in mm, so 150 into 10 is equal to 1500 mm. Getting? Length we have converted. Then check whether diameter is given in mm. No. So you have to write down diameter is equal to 2 centimeter. So 2 into 10 is equal to 20 mm. Okay. Then force, it is not given in Newton, so you have to convert it in Newton. So what is the given value? 20 kilonewton. So convert kilonewton value into Newton. So multiply by 10 raised to 3 Newton. Young's modulus is given 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square. So these are the given parameters. It is mentioned in the statement. And what we have to calculate here, I have written. Find. What we have to calculate? We have to calculate the stress value, we have to calculate the strain value, and we have to calculate the elongation of rod. So what happened? Due to this 20 kilonewton force applied on this particular rod, the body is subjected to the deformation. If there is no load, no deformation, no stress, no strain. But if there is a load, and if this will be the elastic body, then 101% some amount of stress is induced in the rod. If the stress is induced, then automatically the strain is also going to induce. And due to the external force applied, 101% the deformation or the elongation of rod is also taking place. And these are the three values we have to calculate. So initially we have written the given data, converted all the data in mm wherever it is required, converted the force value in a Newton. E, it is taken as it is. Someone's mic is on, please mute. E we have taken as it is, and now we have to calculate the parameters. Now the list of the formulas is given to you. List of the formulas is given to you. So what is the first parameter we have to calculate? Let us see. Sigma we have to calculate. Okay, if I will write down the sigma formula, sigma is equal to if I will write down sigma formula, sigma we have to calculate. So sigma is equal to P upon A. So this is the formula. Okay, sigma is equal to P upon A. So already whatever the P represents the external force applied on the body and A represents the cross-sectional area of the body. So simply I will write sigma is equal to, what is the P value? Already the 20 kilonewton external force is applied, that is pulling force, that it represents the external force applied on the rod. So 20 into 10 raised to 3. Don't take only 20 kilonewton, try to take the converted value in the calculation. So 20 into 10 raised to 3. Now area. So whatever the rod is given, it is in circular in cross section, and for the circular rod, what is the formula? Pi by 4 into d square. Pi by 4 into d square. So once again, next step, sigma is equal to 20 into 10 raised to 3 divided by pi by 4 as it is into diameter is given 2 centimeter, and already we have converted the diameter in mm, it becomes 20 square. So if you do the calculation, you will get the sigma value. So what is the sigma value? Please tell me. What is the sigma value? Now you do the calculations and try to represent some of the answers in the chat box. What is the sigma value? One answer I got in the chat box, that is 63.66. Please check. Yes, correct. 63.66 Newton per mm square. 63.66, 63.66. This is the stress induced in the rod due to the external force, and this stress is also called as a tensile, because according to the direction of 20 kilonewton, and already it is mentioned in the statement, the axial force which is applied, it is in pulling condition, means it is called as a tensile. So whatever the stress is induced, that stress is called as a tensile. Yes, everybody is representing the answer in the chat box, that is 63.66 Newton per mm square. This is the stress induced in the rod. Now we have to calculate the strain. But before, if I will write down the formula for the strain, so what is the formula for the strain, or as per the definitions? Change in dimensions upon original dimensions. So change in dimension means I can write the change in the length upon original length. Change in length upon original length. So strain we have to calculate. Okay, to calculate the strain value, first of all we have to calculate the change in dimension. The change in dimension and original length. It is given as a 150 centimeter. Already we have converted in mm, that is 1500 mm. Means before calculation of strain value, what is our requirement? That is third parameter. First of all we calculate, that is delta L. So what is the formula? Now please tell me which formula I have to use here for the delta L calculation. From the list of the formulae, which formula I have to use?
PL upon E. Delta L is
yes,
equal
delta L is equal to PL upon AE. Correct. Delta L is equal to PL upon AE, because here the rod is subjected to the external load, and here P represents the external load. If there is no load on the rod and that body will be in hanging position, then we have to second deformation formula, that is WL square upon 2E. But here the rod is not in hanging position, and already in the statement itself, statement मध्ये आपल्याला त्यांनी सांगितलेलं आहे की axial pull 20 kilonewton force त्या rod वर act झालेला आहे, means external load is already applied. So immediately we can take the delta L formula, PL upon AE. So delta L is equal to, write down the P value, take converted values only, 20 into 10 raised to 3 into original length, it is already converted 1500 divided by, okay, area, once again pi by 4 into diameter is given 20 square into Young's modulus already given. Take this value as it is, 2 into 10 raised to 5. And now tell me the deformation of the rod. Write down answer in the chat box so I can check. Yes, 2 answers, 3 answers I got. 0.47 I will check. Correct, 0.47. 0.47 mm. Try to write down the unit. Unit is very important. If you don't write, if you will not write down the unit, sometimes half mark on 1 mark you will get loose. So whatever the values we are calculating, unknown parameters we are calculating, try to write down. Not try, 101%. The unit is very, very important. Wherever the unitless quantities are there, need not required. But wherever the unit is required, write down the unit, and whatever the answers, final answers you will get, make the box of this particular answer so that answers will be properly visible through this solution. Okay, delta L, it is calculated. Now, once again, we will come back to our the second parameter, that is strain calculation. Okay. Now here easily we can calculate the strain, that is once again small e is equal to delta L, already we have calculated 0.47 divided by original length 1500. Therefore E is equal to, now what is the value of E? Strain value. Strain is the unitless quantity because deformation unit is mm, length unit is mm. So mm from the numerator, mm from the denominator, it will get cancelled. So mm from the numerator and from the denominator, it will get cancelled. So strain is the unitless quantity. Stress we have calculated in Newton per mm square. Deformation, that is change in length, or it is also called as the elongation, it is calculated in but the strain is the unitless quantity. So what is the answer? 3.133 into 10 raised to minus 4. Correct. 3.133 into 10 raised to minus 4. 3.1 or 183. Sometimes you will get some different digits after the point. It may be depends upon the calculation, how much part you are considering for the calculation. Based on that, your answers will be variable. But that much difference will be accepted. But it should not be 1.133, 2.133, or 4.133. These answers will not be accepted. So 3.143, 3.183, 3.13. So like that variations, and that answers will be accepted. So this is the problem number 1 based on the stress calculation, strain calculation, and the deformation calculation. So problems are sometimes very, very simple, but some students, they are unable to understand the meaning of the statement and they are unable to do the calculation. So read the statement carefully. Try to draw the figure from that particular statement. So through this particular figure, you will easily get that what exactly they have given and what exactly we have to calculate. Because once if you read the statement and if you remind the list of the formulas according to that particular type, immediately the list is at your mind, and immediately we can write down the given parameters and we will go for the solution. So like that practice we have to apply. Read the statement carefully, write down all the given data, and in the given data itself you have to convert all the parameters wherever it is required: centimeter to mm, meter to mm, kilonewton to newton, gigapascal to newton per mm square. Only this much conversions are required. If value is already given in mm, need not required to convert. Then next we have to draw the figure if it is required, or if you are not able to understand the statement. And after the given data, one by one, you have to go for the solutions by using the list of the formulae. So this is the first and very, very simple problem, just for your understanding how the statement is given and how to go for the calculation. Okay, I hope everyone has calculated these three values. Now these are the basic formulas. Type number 1, this is applicable for all the remaining 7 chapters. It is not applicable for this chapter only. These formulas are applicable for all the remaining 7 chapters, because in all the remaining chapters we are calculating the stress, strain, deformation. So these three formulas are very, very important. Now next, problem number 2. The figure is also given in the statement, but here problem is somewhat different than the problem number 1. Simply, it is very simple and straightforward. Here you just apply your application of mind. What exactly we have to calculate? Already they have given what exactly we have to calculate, but how it is applicable to this particular figure, that we have to understand. So whenever I am representing the problem, you are not required to write down the problem in your notebook, but through this particular statement, write down the given data. If possible, you can immediately write down the problem in your notebook, or you can write down the given data and you have to draw the figure in your notebook. Whenever I am explaining the things, so that time you will get to write down the given data, or to write down the statement, or to draw the figure. And simultaneously, when I am starting the solution, simultaneously we can start with me also, because some students are doing the calculation in advance and they're sending the answers in the chat box. Okay. So I will read the statement and then we will understand the meaning and then we will go for the solution. So a stepped bar shown in the figure. Simple. A stepped bar shown in the figure. That means figure will be given in the statement. Okay. Subjected to axial compressive load of 35 kilonewton. Stepped bar. Why it is called as a stepped bar? That we have to see in the figure. Why it is called as a stepped bar? Because the two sections are there. This is the section number 1 and this is the section number 2. So section number 1 and section number 2, they are connected to each other in vertical direction. Section number 1, or you can see it as a, or we can call it as a bar. Bar number 1 and bar number 2 are connected to each other in vertical direction, and it is subjected to compressive load of 35 kilonewton. How 35 kilonewton is compressive, that you can see in the figure, because the bar number 1 and bar number 2 are connected to each other in vertical direction. Therefore, their axis also becomes vertical, like this. Okay, and at the bottom side the rod is totally fixed. So whatever the inclined lines they have represented in the form of hatching lines, so this structure represents the rod is fixed at the bottom side. Okay, that means one side is totally fixed, or we can say the bottom side is totally fixed. Now if we focus on the 35 kilonewton applied at the top side, 35 kilonewtonचा फोर्स जर तुम्ही वरच्या बाजूला बघितला आणि त्याची जर डायरेक्शन फिगर मध्ये बघितली, तर we can easily say that this stepped bar is under the compressive condition. जर खालच्या बाजूला जर रॉड फिक्स नसला असता तर आपण सांगू शकलो नसतं की that body is under the compressive or not. So in order to make that condition as a compressive condition, purposefully they have given the fixed condition at the bottom side. जर खालच्या बाजूला जर फिक्स्ड कंडिशन दिली नसती तर तो 35 किलोन्यूटनचा फोर्स आपल्याला खालच्या बाजूला पण दाखवावा लागला असता. तो कुठे गेला असता तर वरच्या बाजूला, म्हणजे वरच्या बाजूचा 35 किलोन्यूटन हा खालच्या बाजूला चाललाय आणि खालच्या बाजूचा 35 किलोन्यूटन फोर्स हा वरच्या बाजूला चाललाय. तरी पण तुमची बॉडी काय झाली असती, कॉम्प्रेसिव्ह कंडिशन मध्ये झाली असती. बट हियर दे हॅव गिवन ओनली वन बाउंड्री कंडिशन. तर 35 किलोन्यूटन फोर्स इज अप्लाइड ऍट द टॉप साइड आणि खालची बाजू काय फिक्स आहे. मग त्या 35 किलोन्यूटनची फोर्स ची आपण जर डायरेक्शन बघितली आणि त्याची खालची फिक्स्ड कंडिशन बघितली तर that stepped bar is under the compression. This is very important. And whatever the 35 kilonewton force is applied at the top side, same 35 kilonewton force we have to consider for the section number 1 and the section number 2. दोन्ही सेक्शनला आपल्याला तोच 35 किलोन्यूटन फोर्स काय करायचा कॅल्क्युलेशन मध्ये कन्सिडर करायचा आहे. one bar is having the diameter, so horizontal distances are given. If you see the figure properly, section number 1 having the diameter 2 centimeter and the section number 2 having diameter 3 centimeter. दोन्हीचे डायमीटर वेगवेगळे आहेत, म्हणजे त्याचे क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया पण काय असणार आहेत, वेगवेगळे असणार आहेत. So a stepped bar shown in the figure subjected to an axial force of 35 kilonewton. Full stop. Find maximum and minimum stresses produced. Find the maximum stress produced and the minimum stress produced in the stepped bar. म्हणजे ह्या बार मधला आपल्याला मॅक्सिमम स्ट्रेसची व्हॅल्यू करायची आहे आणि मिनिमम स्ट्रेसची व्हॅल्यू काढायची आहे. तर ती कशी काढायची, तर त्यासाठी आपल्याला हियर वी हॅव टू अप्लाय वन सिंपल कंडिशन. You also know that, but just once again, for more understanding, I will repeat the things. So once again, once the statement is given, figure is there, try to write down the given data. So what given data I have written here? Let us see. P 35 kilonewton immediately is equal to 35 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. Immediately convert the kilonewton to Newton. Then diameter 1. Capital D1 means it represents the diameter of section number 1. जो काय सगळ्यात वरचा सेक्शन आहे त्याला आपण काय म्हणले, सेक्शन नंबर 2 म्हणले, आणि त्याच्या खालच्या सेक्शनला आपण सेक्शन नंबर 2 म्हणलेला आहे. ठीक आहे. सो D1 means diameter of section number 1, it is given 2 centimeter multiplied by 10, it is converted in 20 mm. Similarly, capital D2 means diameter of second section. Okay, its diameter is given 3 centimeter. Okay, multiply by 10, it is converted in mm, that is 30 mm. So these are the three parameters they have given in the statement, and what we have to calculate, we have to calculate the maximum stress and we have to calculate the minimum stress. Okay, so these parameters we have to calculate. Now here I will write down at the left side maximum stress, and here I will write down minimum stress. Now if I will look at to the figure to calculate the maximum stress and minimum stress value, जर मला फिगरचा वापर करून जर maximum stress आणि minimum stress value जर काढायची असतील तर here we have to apply one standard concept. Here we have to apply the one standard concept. So initially I will calculate the maximum stress value. So here one important statement I will write. See, stress is maximum where area is minimum. If I have to calculate this maximum stress value, to calculate that stress, here I have written one standard statement. What is that statement? Stress is maximum where area is minimum. So now we have to apply this condition, stress is maximum where area is minimum, to our figure. Now please tell me, the section number 1 is having diameter 2 centimeter, it is 20 mm. Section number 2 is having diameter 3 centimeter, it is 30 mm. Here diameters are given, so by using that particular diameters I can calculate the cross sectional areas. Area for the section number 1 pi by 4 20 square, and for the section number 2 pi by 4 30 square. Now, and if I will apply our statement, stress is maximum where area is minimum. Now please tell me where the stress is maximum, in section number 1 or in section number 2? Stress is maximum where area is minimum. By looking to this particular figure and their dimensions, where the stress will be maximum, in section number 1 or in section number 2?
Section 1.
Section number 1. Everybody is, yes, you can represent the answer in the chat box, so I can clear the thing. Section number 1, correct, because diameter is 20 centimeter and second diameter is 30 centimeter. म्हणजे section number 1 चा diameter हा section number 2 पेक्षा काय आहे, कमी आहे. मग डायमीटर कमी झाला म्हणजे त्याचा काय झाला, क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया पण कमी झाला. जेवढा आपण एखाद्या मेंबरचा किंवा एखाद्या कंपोनंटचा क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया कमी करतो तेवढी त्या बॉडीची स्ट्रेंथ काय होते, कमी होते. मग स्ट्रेंथ जर कमी होत असेल तर लगेच त्या बॉडीचं डिफॉर्मेशन होण्याचे चान्सेस काय असतात, जास्त. त्यामुळं ऍज पर द ऍप्लिकेशन ज्या ठिकाणी आपल्याला जेवढा एरिया पाहिजे तेवढा एरिया आपल्याला त्या मशीनला, त्या गाडीला किंवा त्या व्हेकलला किंवा त्या पर्टिक्युलर स्ट्रक्चरला प्रोव्हाइड करावाच लागतो. As per that requirement, if we will not provide the required dimension, if we will not provide the required area, immediately there is a possibility of failure. त्या ऍप्लिकेशन प्रमाणे जर आपण तो एरिया किंवा तो डायमेन्शन त्या बॉडीला दिलेच नसतील तर त्या ठिकाणी फेल्युअर होण्याचे चान्सेस काय असतात, जास्त असतात. त्यामुळे ज्यावेळेस आपण वेगवेगळ्या मशीन्स बघतो, वेगवेगळे स्ट्रक्चर्स बघतो, त्याच्यामध्ये नंबर ऑफ कंपोनंट असतात, गिअर असतात, काही ठिकाणी पुली असतात, काही ठिकाणी प्लेट्स असतात, काही ठिकाणी लिव्हर असतात. that lever, that all the components are designed as per the requirement of machine. ते असे डिझाइन केलेले नसतात वेग मध्ये. So initially they have conducted number of tests, initially they have measured all the dimensions and as per the requirement of machine the required components are provided. उगाच मशीन लहान आहे आणि एखादा कंपोनंट हा मोठा आहे, इट इज ऑल्सो नॉट लाईक दॅट. सो ऍज पर द रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ मशीन ऑल द कंपोनंट्स आर टू बी प्रोव्हाइडेड. So this statement is very important, that is stress is maximum where area is minimum. जिथे एरिया तुमचा कमी 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 होत जातो त्या ठिकाणची स्ट्रेस व्हॅल्यू तुमची काय होते, जास्त होते. आणि एक कंडिशन अशी होती की एरिया वाढत जातो जातो म्हणजे काय होतं, त्या ठिकाणी इलॉंगेशन काय होतं, तसे कंटिन्युअसली चालू असते. एक कंडिशन अशी येते की तो कंपोनंट कुठं तर ब्रेक होणार आणि त्या ठिकाणी मॅक्सिमम स्ट्रेस रीच होऊन तो स्ट्रेस परत काय होणार, झिरो होणार. बट जी काय मॅक्सिमम स्ट्रेस कंडिशन असणार आहे ती ब्रेकिंग पॉईंटच्या अगोदरच कुठं तर असणार आहे. त्यामुळे त्या पर्टिक्युलर लोकेशनला जेवढा एरिया तुमचा कमी 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 होत जातो तेवढी तुमची स्ट्रेसची व्हॅल्यू काय होते, वाढत जाते. पण एक कंडिशन अशी येते की तो कंपोनंट कुठं तर ब्रेक होतो आणि तो स्ट्रेस पण काय होतो, तिथं झिरो होतो. पण आपल्याला इथं ब्रेकिंगची कंडिशन आणायची नाही, इथं फक्त आपल्याला काय करायचे, मॅक्सिमम स्ट्रेसची कंडिशन आपल्याला काय करायचे, अप्लाय करायचे. सो हियर maximum stress means the stress is maximum where area is minimum. So if I have to calculate the stress value, so I will write down the stress maximum means I have to calculate the sigma max is equal to P upon A1. P it is common, I will not write down the P1, or I can also write down capital P is equal to P1 is equal to P2. Capital P means total force. It is equal to P1. That means for the section number 1 we have to consider the same force, and for section number 2 also we have to consider the same force. So sigma max I have written simple formula, stress is equal to force upon area. So sigma max is equal to force, it is given in the statement, how much, 35 into 10 raised to 3 divided by area. What is the area for the section number 1? Pi by 4 into 20 square. So sigma max is equal to, now please tell me yes, everybody is representing the answer in the chat box, that is 111.41 or 111.40.4. all the answers will be accepted. So here I will write down the answer 111.41 Newton per mm square. 111.41 Newton per mm square. This is the maximum stress value. At the end we will compare both the stresses. सगळ्यात शेवटी आपण सिग्मा मॅक्स पण कन्सिडर करणार आहे सिग्मा मिनिममची, आणि त्याच्यामध्ये पण तुम्हाला अंडरस्टँड होते की कॅल्क्युलेशन केल्यानंतर पण कसा सिग्मा मॅक्स ची व्हॅल्यू मॅक्सिमम आली आणि सिग्मा मिनिमम ची व्हॅल्यू मिनिमम आली. दॅट ऑल्सो वी कॅन व्हेरीफाय ऍट द एंड ऑफ द सोल्युशन. Now please do the calculation and write down this particular statement. It is very important and make it the underline किंवा वहीच्या वरच्या बाजूला लिहून ठेवा. स्ट्रेस इज मॅक्सिमम वेअर एरिया इज मिनिमम. एकाच सेक्शन मध्ये जर दोन क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया असतील किंवा एकाच बार मध्ये जर दोन क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया असतील तर त्या ठिकाणी मॅक्सिमम स्ट्रेस कुठे असणार आहे, जिथं मिनिमम एरिया असणार आहे, आणि मिनिमम स्ट्रेस कुठे असणार आहे, जिथं मॅक्सिमम एरिया असणार. पण काही कंडिशन असतात की जिथं क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया हा सेमच असतो, कारण डायमीटर सेम असेल, तर त्या ठिकाणी आपण मॅक्सिमम स्ट्रेस आणि मिनिमम स्ट्रेस व्हॅल्यू डिस्टिंग्विश करू शकत नाही. Same stress will be there in section number 1 and section number 2. Why? Because diameters are same. Write down the statement, stress is maximum where area is minimum. Now the second condition, minimum stress value. Here, write down the statement, stress is minimum where area is maximum. In the first calculation sigma max जो काय फॉर्म्युला लिहिलाय त्याच्या पुढे ब्रॅकेट मध्ये लिहा from figure then write down the sigma minimum is equal to p upon a2 हा फॉर्म्युला कशावरून लिहिला आपण तर फिगर वरून फिगरचा रेफरन्स घेऊन from figure okay then write down sigma minimum as it is p 35 into 10 raised to 3 divided by pi by 4 into 30 square yes sigma minimum is equal to answers I got yes 49.51 correct 49.51 49.51 Newton per mm square. So this is the minimum stress value and if we compare sigma max and sigma minimum our conditions are also satisfied. आपण पहिली कंडिशन काय अप्लाय केली होती आपल्याला माहित नव्हती की व्हॉट इज युअर आन्सर्स पण व्हॉट इज आवर फर्स्ट कंडिशन स्ट्रेस इज मॅक्सिमम वेअर एरिया इज मिनिमम ह्या स्टेटमेंट नुसार आणि फिगरचा रेफरन्स घेऊन आपण फॉर्म्युला लिहिला व्हॅल्यू पुटअप केल्या तुम्हाला पहिली व्हॅल्यू मिळाली 111.41 सिमिलरली फॉर सेकंड कंडिशन वी हॅव अप्लाइड मिनिमम स्ट्रेस कुठे असतो तर त्या फिगर मध्ये दिलेल्या फिगर मध्ये जिथे एरिया मॅक्सिमम असतो एवढंच फक्त आपण पहिल्यांदा थिंकिंग केलं वी हॅव रिटन द फॉर्म्युले we have kept the values and we have found the solution and you will get the answer 49.51 and if I will compare both the answers our conditions will be satisfied ज्या ठिकाणी एरिया मिनिमम असतो त्या ठिकाणी स्ट्रेसची व्हॅल्यू काय येणार आहे तुमची जास्त असणार आहे एरिया मिनिमम झाला म्हणजे तो कंपोनंट काय होत चाललाय लहान होत चालला म्हणजे त्याची काय होते एक कंडिशन अशी येते की त्याची स्ट्रेंथ एकदम कमी होते आणि स्ट्रेंथ कमी झाली की त्या ठिकाणी स्ट्रेसची व्हॅल्यू काय झालेली असते वाढलेली असते आणि जेवढा एखाद्या कंपोनंटला एरिया तुम्ही मॅक्सिमम येणार आहे जेवढा त्याचा डायमीटर मॅक्सिमम असणार आहे तेवढे त्याच्यामध्ये फेल्युअर होण्याचे चान्सेस काय असतात कमी असतात जेवढा एरिया मोठा तेवढा फेल्युअर होण्याचे चान्सेस काय असतात कमी असतात therefore in that condition always the stress value will be the minimum because sigma and p are directly proportional to each other and sigma and a are inversely proportional to each other how if sigma increases if force is increases the stress value 101% increases if force value increases sigma is increases but if area increases if area increases then sigma is decreases सिग्मा आणि पी हे एकमेकाला डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल आहेत एक व्हॅल्यू वाढली तर दुसरी 100% वाढणार आहे पण सिग्मा आणि क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया हे एकमेकाला अपोजिट आहेत जर एरिया कमी होत असेल तर त्या ठिकाणी सिग्मा वाढत जाणार आहे जर एरिया वाढत असेल तर त्या ठिकाणी सिग्मा काय असणार आहे तुमचा कमी असणार so this is the second problem where we have identified or we have check where the stress value is maximum and the stress value is minimum and based on this 101% the problems will be there in your examination it may be online it may be offline or it is also important as an important concept in your technical interviews whenever you are appearing the technical interviews at your last year so based on this particular concept 101% some questions will be asked during your interview so this is the very technical and very basic things and very simple things just we have to apply your application of mind and we have to check how it is to be calculated so this is the maximum stress condition and minimum stress condition. Getting anybody is having any problem for the problem number 1 and problem number 2? Two problems whatever we have solved today, these are the very basic and very simple problems. This such simple problems will not be asked in the examination, but through these two statements you have to just check how to read the statement, how to write down the given data, how to go for the conversion, how to draw the figure from the given statement, how to use the list of the formulas for the calculation, how to represent the unit at the end of the answer. That basic things we have to apply here through this particular two statement, two problems, and same things we have to apply for the remaining all the types of the problems and remaining all the types of chapters. Getting anybody is having any problem understanding of these two statements? Stress strain elongation calculation, then maximum stress condition and minimum stress condition. Rather than this, not a single variety is there for the calculation. Either we have to calculate the stress, either we have to calculate the strain, either we have to calculate the deformation, or sometimes this is the second like maximum stress condition and minimum stress condition. Getting everyone has understood? Okay. So I hope everyone has understood. If not, then unmute from your side and ask the questions so we can clear the things here only, or at your home during studying the concepts. If you are facing problems, call me that time or send a message on the WhatsApp so I can clear the things through that also. Okay, I hope you have understood these two statements. Very simple and the straightforward numericals are there. Now, this is the one more problem just for your solution. Very simple and the straightforward. Name itself suggests that. Name itself. There in some statements, some words, standard words are there. Through these words only we can check that how to solve the problem and what is the formula for this particular statement. So if I will read the statement, let us see. A copper alloy wire of 1.5 mm diameter. A copper alloy wire, one small wire is there and their diameter is 1.5 mm and 30-meter long. Just I will check whether it is 30 or 30 centimeter like this. Yes, 30-meter long. One wire is there having diameter 1.5, length 30-meter long, is hanging freely from the tower. Is hanging freely from the tower. Here immediately try to draw the figure just for your reference. Hanging freely at tower means fixed condition वरच्या बाजूला असणार आहे. So this is one wire structure. Let us assume that this is wire. Okay, so this is the wire is hanging freely from the tower. Okay, so the wire is fixed at the top side and it is in hanging position, means at the bottom side there is no any external force, nothing is applied on this particular wire, only just it is in hanging position, full stop. What will be the elongation due to the self weight? What will be the elongation? So this wire is hanging position, means it is fixed at the top side and the bottom side is totally free. This is fixed at the top side and the bottom side is totally free, and due to this condition, whatever the self weight of the wire is there, it is acting in the downward direction. Due to the gravitational force in the downward direction, the self weight of this particular wire, it is applied in the downward direction. त्यामुळे बघा आपण कुठली जर गोष्ट हवेत टाकली तरी ती शेवटी कुठे येणार आहे, तुमची खाली येऊन जमिनीवर आदळणार. सो इट इज लाईक दॅट द ग्रॅव्हिटेशनल फोर्स इज इन डाऊनवर्ड डायरेक्शन. त्याच्यामुळे ह्या बॉडीचं किंवा ह्या वायरचं जे काही सेल्फ वेट आहे, that self weight is also in the downward direction. And how much amount of self weight is there? That is 89.2 kilonewton per meter cube. 89.2 kilonewton per meter cube, and take E is equal to 90 gigapascal. E means Young's modulus. So this is the given parameters, and by using the statement simply I have drawn the figure. Figure is not important in your solution. Just for your understanding, if you draw the figure and understand the concept, that becomes very simple. Otherwise, if you understand the figure, if you understand the statement, directly you can start the solution like a given data. Okay, so first, what is the diameter? 1.5 mm. Already it is given in mm, need not required to go for conversion. Length of wire is given 30 meter. Here conversion is important. 30 into 10 raised to 3 mm. Self weight. Self weight is indicated by W. Now please tell me which formula is applicable here for the elongation calculation. As per our list of the formula. Which formula is applicable? Here no external force applied. Body subjected to self weight. Which formula is applicable? You can unmute. Anyone?
Delta L is equal to WL square upon 2E.
Correct. Delta L is equal to WL square upon 2. Here delta L is equal to PL upon AE. This formula is not applicable. का applicable नाही तर P तुमचा काय सांगतोय एक्सटर्नल फोर्स सांगतोय आणि तुम्ही स्टेटमेंट मध्ये जर कुठे बघितलं तर आपल्याला त्या बॉडीवर अप्लाय झालेला एक्सटर्नल फोर्स 50 किलोन्यूटन 30 किलोन्यूटन 35 किलोन्यूटन असा कुठलाच फोर्स स्टेटमेंट मध्ये दिलेला नाही. Means delta L is equal to PL upon AE. That formula is not applicable for this problem. And in addition to that, in the statement they have given the self weight. म्हणजे लगेच इथं आपल्याला इमॅजिन झालं पाहिजे की हा फॉर्म्युला किंवा हा प्रॉब्लेम इट इज डिपेंड्स अपॉन द सेकंड कंडिशन दॅट इज डिफॉर्मेशन ड्यू टू सेल्फ वेट. कारण सेल्फ वेट ऑलरेडी तुम्हाला स्टेटमेंट मध्ये दिलेला आहे किती तर W इज इक्वल टू 89.2 किलो न्यूटन पर मीटर क्यूब. आता किलो न्यूटन पर मीटर क्यूब दिलेला आहे म्हणजे किलो न्यूटनचं पण न्यूटन मध्ये कन्वर्ट केलं पाहिजे, मीटरचं पण तुमचं एमएम मध्ये कन्वर्ट केलं पाहिजे. म्हणजे तुमची व्हॅल्यू कुठल्या ह्याच्यामध्ये आली पाहिजे तर न्यूटन पर एमएम क्यूब. हिअर इट इज गिवन किलो न्यूटन पर मीटर क्यूब, यू हॅव टू कन्वर्ट इन न्यूटन पर एमएम क्यूब. मग काय करायचं बघा, किलो न्यूटनचं जर न्यूटन करायचं असेल तर दॅट 89.2 इंटू किलो न्यूटन हे न्यूमरेटरच्या बाजूला आहे, मीटर क्यूब हे डिनॉमिनेटरच्या बाजूला आहे. त्यामुळे किलो न्यूटनचं जर न्यूटन मध्ये करायचं असेल तर त्याला 10⁻³ ने मल्टिप्लाय करा, वरच्या बाजूला करा का तर किलो न्यूटन हे वरच्या बाजूला आहे, डिवायडेड बाय मीटर क्यूब. जर मीटरचं जर एमएम मध्ये करायचं असेल तर आपल्याला काय करावं लागतं 1000 न मल्टिप्लाय करावं लागतं. म्हणजे मीटरचं 10⁻³ म्हणजे 1000 आणि त्याचा क्यूब 10⁻³ हे काय झालं तुमचं मीटरचं एमएम मध्ये कन्वर्जन झालं आणि त्या मीटरचा क्यूब मध्ये असल्यामुळे इथं पण आपल्याला काय करावं लागणार एमएम चा क्यूब करावा लागणार. मग बघा व्हॉट इज द सेकंड कंडिशन 89.2 इंटू 10⁻³ डिवायडेड बाय आता बघा 10⁻³ आणि बाहेरच्या बाजूला पण 10⁻³ आहे तर इथं काय होणार आहे तुमचं 10⁻⁹ 10⁻⁹ आणि हे 10⁻⁹ जर आपण वरच्या बाजूला घेतलं तर 89.2 इंटू 10⁻³ खालच्या बाजूला असताना ते 10⁻⁹ आहे. जर तो आपण 10⁻⁹ वरच्या बाजूला घेतला तर इट बिकम्स 10⁻⁻⁹. मग या ठिकाणी W ची व्हॅल्यू काय येणार आहे बघा तुमची 89.2 as it is. So 10⁻+3 10⁻⁻�9. What is the value?
10⁻⁻⁻6.
10⁻⁻6 ह्या ठिकाणी तुमचं एकतर ऍडिशन होणार आहे किंवा सबट्रॅक्शन होणार आहे. पण निगेटिव्ह साइन हे मोठ्या ह्याला आहे -9 ला आहे त्यामुळे इथे काय येणार आहे तुमचं 10⁻⁻6 युनिट काय आलं न्यूटन पर mm. So like that we have to go for the conversions. Then E, what is the value of E? 90 gigapascal. मी काय सांगितले गिगापास्कल जर दिलेला असेल तर त्या व्हॅल्यूला फक्त 10⁻³ ने मल्टिप्लाय करायचं दॅट इज 90 इंटू 10⁻³ न्यूटन पर mm². So this is the given parameter, that the diameter is given, length is given, W it is converted in Newton per mm cube, gigapascal it is converted, and simply we have to use the formula. Here I will write delta L is equal to WL square upon 2E. So W already we have take the converted value 89.2 into 10 raised to minus 6 into L square. Baga 30 into 10 raised to 3 brackets are square. Sometimes by mistake we are taking only 30 into 10 raised to 3. That's a square आपण घेतच नाही. Sometimes we forget that and your answer will be wrong. Sometimes examiner will check your final answer. If it is correct, you will get the full marks. Sometimes if he will check the stepwise marking system is also there. So sometimes we are make mistake to make the square, that is 13 to 10 raised to 3 bracket square divided by 2 into E, that is 90 into 10 raised to 3. Tell me the value of deformation. Deformation due to self-weight. What is the value? Some answers I got 0.446. Just I will check. Correct. 0.446. Write down the unit and make the square to the answer, so that answer can be properly visible for your understanding during your own study. Okay, so this is the third problem through which we have understood the statement. In the statement, if the kilonewton value is given, that will be applicable for the external load condition. But in the statement, two hints are given to you. That is hanging freely from the tower. Hanging freely means no load, it is subjected to the self weight. And second, the self weight, this word is also mentioned in the statement. So your second condition will be applicable for the further solution. 0.446 mm, it is very negligible. 0.4 mm means it is very negligible. And such conditions are also there in our home also, or maybe at your farm also. Such conditions are there. Sometimes wires are hanging position, due to which the elongation is possible. So this elongation value is very negligible. जर असं elongation continuously होत असेल तर we have to replace the wire again and again. But that elongation is very negligible. It is very small and it will be accepted. I hope you have taken this part in your notebook. Try to draw the figure, give the names, wire, their dimensions, write down the given parameters, convert all the parameters wherever it is required, and then start the actual solution. Delta L is equal to WL square upon 2E. Write down all the converted values. By mistakes, we are convert the values, but we are not taking that converted value in the calculation. We are taking previous value only, and your answer will be wrong. The answer चुकीचा असेल तर sometimes you will get the 0 marks. So try to focus on your stepwise calculation. If you made one single mistake in the first step, second step, your final answer will be wrong. So try to take all the converted values properly and then go for the further solution. कारण ह्याच्यामध्ये तुम्ही कॅल्क्युलेशन पार्ट जर तुम्हाला जमला नाही तर तुमचं टोटल उत्तर त्याच्यामध्ये काय होणार आहे 100% चुकणार आहे. त्यामुळे स्टेप वाईज एक स्टेप, दोन स्टेप, तीन स्टेप येऊ द्या, एक्स्ट्रा स्टेप वाढू द्या. But more and more simplification we have to do. Okay, so I hope you have taken this particular part in your notebook. You have solved the problems and you got the answer 0.446 mm. So this is the type number 1, that is problems based on the stress calculation, strain calculation, deformation calculation, like that. Very simple, and the straightforward type is there. Now we'll go for the type number 2, problems on bars of varying cross section. Problems on bars of varying cross sections, and here the type number 2 is mostly related to the deformation calculation. Deformation, only one parameter we have to calculate here. Deformation or it is called as a elongation. Deformation is also called as a elongation, means it is called as a change in length. So what is the meaning of problems on bars of varying cross section? Up till now, whatever the three problems we have discussed, out of these three, if you think about the problem number 1 and problem number 3, in problem number 1, one rod is there, that means only single component is there. One rod is there means only single component is there, having only two dimensions. One is the length, that is total length, and another is the diameter. That means single body is there. If you think about the third problem, whatever just now we have covered, in that again only one component is there, that is wire. Single wire is there which is attached to the tower, and that wire is having some length and some diameter. Okay. That means only single body is there having the single dimensions. But if you look at to the statement of the type number 2, problems on the bars of varying cross section. And if you think once again about our problem number 2, where we have calculated the maximum stress and minimum stress. तुम्ही जर सेकंड प्रॉब्लेमचा जर विचार केला आणि इफ यू रिमाइंड इट, तर त्याच्यामध्ये दोन सेक्शन हे एकमेकाला काय केले होते, कनेक्ट केले होते. सेक्शन नंबर 1 ज्याचा डायमीटर 2 सेंटीमीटर होता आणि सेक्शन नंबर 2 ज्याचा डायमीटर हा 3 सेंटीमीटर होता, आणि ते दोन्ही सेक्शन व्हर्टिकल डायरेक्शन मध्ये काय केले होते, एकमेकाला कनेक्ट केले होते. जर असे वेगवेगळ्या क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरियाचे सेक्शन जे लेंथ वेगळे असेल, जे डायमीटर वेगळे असतील, आणि जर डायमीटर वेगळा असेल तर त्याचा क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया पण काय असणार आहे, वेगळा असणार आहे. जर असे वेगवेगळ्या डायमीटरचे वेगवेगळ्या लेंथचे सेक्शन जर एकमेकाला कनेक्ट केले तर त्याला आपण काय म्हणतो, बार्स ऑफ व्हॅरिंग क्रॉस सेक्शन्स. म्हणजे बार्स म्हणजे टोटल बार झाला, व्हॅरिंग क्रॉस सेक्शन्स. क्रॉस सेक्शन्स ह्यालाच आपण काय म्हणतो, क्रॉस सेक्शन एरियाज. क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरियाज काय वेगळे असणार आहेत, तर त्याचे डायमीटर जर वेगवेगळे असतील, एकाचा डायमीटर 10 असेल, दुसऱ्याचा 20 असेल, तिसऱ्याचा 30 असेल, तर 10 डायमीटर असलेल्या सेक्शनचा क्रॉस सेक्शनल हा वेगळा येणार आहे, दुसऱ्याचा वेगळा येणार आहे, तिसऱ्याचा वेगळा येणार आहे. असे वेगवेगळे क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया असणारे जर कंपोनंट एकमेकाला कनेक्ट केले असतील आणि त्याच्यावर एकच क्वांटिटीचा फोर्स अप्लाय केलेला असेल, जसं सेक्शन प्रॉब्लेम नंबर 2 मध्ये आपण बघितलं, तर सेक्शन नंबर 1 आणि सेक्शन नंबर 2 हे एकमेकाला काय केले होते, कनेक्ट केले होते व्हर्टिकल डायरेक्शन मध्ये, आणि त्याच्यामध्ये 35 किलोन्यूटनचा कॉम्प्रेसिव्ह फोर्स हा वरच्या बाजूला काय केला होता, ऍक्ट केला होता. तर त्या स्ट्रक्चरला आपण काय म्हणतो, बार्स ऑफ व्हॅरिंग क्रॉस सेक्शन. आणि that concept we have to check or we have to apply in the type number 2. ह्याच्यामध्ये पण स्टेटमेंट काय सांगते बघा, the problems on bars of varying cross sections. And if you look at to the figure which is given here, so the three sections are there, section number 1, section number 2 and section number 3. Okay, that all the three sections are connected to each other. जिथे section number 1 तुमचा संपतोय त्याच ठिकाणी तुमचा section number 2 काय झालेला आहे, स्टार्ट झालेला आहे. जिथं तुमचा सेक्शन नंबर 2 हा संपतोय, जिथं त्याचा एंड होतोय, त्या ठिकाणी तुमचा सेक्शन नंबर 3 स्टार्ट झालेला आहे आणि ते एकमेकाला कनेक्ट केलेले. इफ यू लुक एट द सेक्शन नंबर 1, सेक्शन नंबर 1 इज हॅव्हिंग लेंथ L1 अँड एरिया A1. म्हणजे ह्याची लेंथ काय तर असेल, फॉर एक्झाम्पल वी कॅन कन्सिडर इट एज ए 10 सेंटीमीटर, आणि ह्याचा डायमीटर आपण धरूया फॉर एक्झाम्पल 10 सेंटीमीटर. These are the dimensions of the section number 1. Now section number 2, L2 and A2. Let us assume that its length is 50 centimeter and diameter is 20 centimeter. Then section number 3 having dimensions L3 and A3. Let us assume that L3 is equal to 30 centimeter and diameter is equal to 30 centimeter. That means all the three sections are having the different dimension. Their lengths are also different and their diameters are also different. And due to their diameters, here you will get the A1, A2 and A3, and section number 1, section number 2, section number 3 are connected to each other, and this total bar subjected to one external force only, that is 1P at the left side and 1P at the right side. And whatever the P is applied, it is applied externally. बघा हा फोर्स हा ह्या बॉडीच्या किंवा ह्या टोटल बारच्या बाहेरच्या बाजूलाच अप्लाय झालेला आहे. आतल्या बाजूला तुम्हाला कुठं फोर्स दिसतोय का, nahi. It is applied externally only. And due to this reason only, the three sections having the three cross-sectional areas and they are connected to each other. Therefore, this bar, this total bar is called as a bars of varying cross-section or bars of varying cross-sectional areas. Then what exactly we have to calculate here? Here in the type number 2, we have to calculate only one parameter, that is deformation of total bar. Deformation or elongation of total bar. Then how it is to be calculated? So for that purpose, if I have to calculate the total deformation, here I have written the formula at the bottom side. If I have to calculate the total deformation in the problem number 1 and in the problem number 3 in the previous type, delta L is equal to PL upon AE. This formula we have used, correct? It is applicable for the single section. एकच section होता त्यामुळे तो formula आपण एकदाच लिहिला. But here three sections are there. So if I have to calculate the total elongation, what we have to do? I have to calculate the deformation of section number 1, deformation of section number 2 and deformation of section number 3 separately. म्हणजे section 1 चे elongation separate काढायचं, section 2 चे elongation separate काढायचं आणि section 3 चे elongation separate काढायचं. And if I will make the addition, ह्या सगळ्याची जर आपण बेरीज केली तर तुम्हाला ह्या टोटल बार्स आपल्याला काय मिळणार आहे? elongation or deformation. Then which formula we have to use? Single formula here I have written. See, delta L is equal to PL upon AE. This formula we have to apply for the section number 1. Then it becomes P1 L1 upon A1 E1. For section number 2, it becomes delta L2 is equal to P2 L2 upon A2 E2. For section number 3, delta L3 is equal to P3 L3 upon A3 E3. So like that, we have to apply the formulas and we have to calculate the elongation of each and every section, and at the end, we have to make the addition. And in this type number 2, whatever the force is applied externally, that is P amount of force, for example, 50 kilonewton applied. kilonewton here and 50 kilonewton there. This same 50 kilonewton force we have to consider for the section number 1, section number 2 and section number 3. हा P force हा फक्त बघा section 1 ला सेकंडच्या बाजूला ऍक्ट झालेला आहे आणि हा P इकडचा हा section 3 ला ऍक्ट झाला. ह्याचा अर्थ असा नाही की हा सेकंड सेक्शनला हा वेगळाच फोर्स असेल. As section number 1 and section number 2 are connected to each other, and section number 2 and section number 3 are connected to each other, whatever the external force P, 50 kilonewton is applied, same 50 kilonewton force we have to consider for the section number 1, section number 2 and section number 3 in the calculation. म्हणजे या ठिकाणी एक कंडिशन आपली अशी झाली बघा, कॅपिटल P is equal to P1 is equal to P2 is equal to म्हणजे टोटल फोर्स इज इक्वल टू P1 ला पण तेवढाच कन्सिडर करायचा आहे, P2 ला पण तेवढाच कन्सिडर करायचा आहे आणि P3 ला पण तेवढाच कन्सिडर करायचा आहे. जर तिन्ही सेक्शनची लेंथ एकच असेल तर आपण तिथं पण म्हणू शकतो कॅपिटल L इज इक्वल टू L1 इज इक्वल टू L2 इज इक्वल टू L3. इट्स डिपेंड्स अपॉन द स्टेटमेंट. In that particular statement, whatever the dimensions are given, that dimensions we have to take in the calculation. Second things, P is over, length is over, area is already different. कारण type number 2 is based on the bars of varying cross section. त्याची क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया हे व्हेरिएबलच असणार आहेत का तर त्याचे डायमीटर वेगवेगळे असणार. त्यामुळे इथे ठिकाणी तुम्हाला A1 A2 A3 that we have to calculate. Young's modulus, it is very important. If section number 1, section number 2 and section number 3 are made by the single material, section number 1 हा माइल्ड स्टीलचा असेल, सेक्शन नंबर 2 हा पण माइल्ड स्टीलचा असेल आणि सेक्शन नंबर 3 हा पण माइल्ड स्टीलचा असेल, तर ह्या ठिकाणी तुमची यंग्स मॉड्युलस इज इक्वल टू कॅपिटल E इज इक्वल टू E1 इज इक्वल टू E2 इज इक्वल टू E3. If all the three sections are made by the single material, then your Young's modulus is also remain same. But if section 1 is made by the mild steel, section number 2 is made by the copper, section number 3 is made by the aluminum, if material is different, then their property is different. All the materials are having the Young's modulus properties only, but their values will be different. Steel is having different value, copper is having different value, and aluminum is having different value, whatever material is mentioned. That Young's modulus as per the material we have to consider in the calculation. So this is the conditions for the type number 2, that is problems on bars of varying cross section. So we have to apply this much conditions and we have to calculate the separate deformation for each and every section, and at the end simply we have to do the addition. And here in the type number 2, all the 3 sections are under tension condition only. All the 3 are subjected to the tension only. आता इथं जर बघितलं तर 50 kilonewton force, whatever we have considered, according to this P external force, I can say that the section number 1, section number 2 and section number 3, it is under the tension. There is an increase in length. प्रत्येक section ची length ही वाढणारच आहे. section number 2 ची पण length वाढणार आहे, section 3 ची पण वाढणार आहे, section 1 ची पण वाढणार आहे. त्यामुळे आपण फॉर्म्युल्यामध्ये काय केले, डेल्टा L1 प्लस डेल्टा L2 प्लस डेल्टा L3. जरी हा फोर्स असा निगेटिव्ह असेल, म्हणजे कॉम्प्रेसिव्ह फोर्स असेल, हा दिलेला फोर्स P हा जर कॉम्प्रेसिव्ह असेल, त्या ठिकाणी पण आपल्याला हाच फॉर्म्युला वापरायचा. कुठला, डेल्टा L1 प्लस डेल्टा L2 प्लस डेल्टा L3. पण सगळ्यात शेवटी आपल्याला एकच सांगायचं की जर ह्याच्यामध्ये आपल्या केलेला फोर्स हा टेन्साइल कंडिशन मध्ये असेल, तर आलेल्या आन्सरला, आलेल्या डिफॉर्मेशनला ब्रॅकेट मध्ये फक्त काय लिहायचंय, इलॉंगेशन और इनक्रीज इन लेंथ. आणि हा जर फोर्स हा कॉम्प्रेसिव्ह असेल तरी पण फॉर्म्युला डेल्टा L1 प्लस डेल्टा L2 प्लस डेल्टा 3 असाच वापरायचा, आणि त्याची बेरीज आल्यानंतर फक्त ब्रॅकेट मध्ये आपल्याला काय लिहायचं, तर देयर इज अ कॉम्प्रेशन और देयर इज अ डिक्रीज इन लेंथ. जर टेन्साइल फोर्स असेल तर आलेलं डिफॉर्मेशन हे काय असणार आहे, तुमचं इनक्रीज इन लेंथ असणार आहे. कॉम्प्रेसिव्ह फोर्स असेल तर आलेलं डिफॉर्मेशन हे तुमचं कॉम्प्रेसिव्ह असणार आहे, म्हणजे त्या ठिकाणी डिक्रीज इन लेंथ असं आपल्याला काय करावं लागेल, लिहावं लागेल. किंवा ब्रॅकेट मध्ये नुसतं कॅपिटल C जर लिहिलं, दॅट इज ऑल्सो ऍक्सेप्टेड ऍज अ कॉम्प्रेशन. किंवा ब्रॅकेट मध्ये कॅपिटल T जरी लिहिलं तर दॅट इज ऑल्सो ऍक्सेप्टेड ऍज अ टेन्शन. So please keep in mind in the type number 2, that is problems on the bars of varying cross section, where the cross sectional areas are different, and one more condition, that total sections are subjected to only one external force. बघा, अप्लाय झालेला फोर्स हा फक्त एकच आहे, आणि तो कुठे अप्लाय झालेला आहे, ओनली ऍट द एक्सटर्नल साइड ऑफ द बॉडी. टाइप नंबर 3 कशावरचा आहे, तर ह्या सेक्शन मध्ये आतल्या बाजूला जरी फोर्सेस असतील, असे आतल्या बाजूला जरी फोर्सेस असतील, तर दॅट टाइप इज टोटली डिफरंट. The concept of the type number 2 will not be applicable for the type number 3. असाच बार असणार आहे, पण त्या बार मध्ये आतल्या साइडने पण काही प्रोसेस असणार आहे, तर त्याची प्रोसिजर काय डिफरंट आहे. Now we have to think about this type number 2 only, and if you understood the type number 2 properly, type number 3 is very simple to understand. Okay, so please check in the type number 2 whether all the sections are having the different cross sectional areas and it is subjected to only one external force, and that same external force we have to consider for all the sections. मग त्याच्यामध्ये 4 सेक्शन असतील, 5 असतील, 2 असतील, एकापेक्षा जर 2 असतील तर त्या ठिकाणी वेगवेगळे क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया तुम्हाला काय होणार आहे. And even that applied external force is tensile, then also we have to make the addition of delta L1 plus delta L2 plus delta L3 plus delta L4, so on, depends upon the number of sections connected to each other. And if that applied force is compressive, then also we have to use the formula delta L1 plus delta L2 plus delta L3. But at the end, whatever the total deformation we are calculating, त्याच्या ब्रॅकेट आलेल्या आन्सरच्या ब्रॅकेट मध्ये फक्त आपल्याला लिहायचंय कॅपिटल T or कॅपिटल C, whether it is tensile or whether it is compressive. So this is the type number 2, bars on varying cross section area. Why it is called as a bars on varying cross section? The figure is in front of you. All the sections having the different diameters, different areas are connected to each other and subjected to one external force. It may be tensile or it may be compressive. and only one formula we have to use, that is delta L is equal to PL upon A. Here WL square upon 2E formula is not applicable. So this is the basic introduction, basic explanation, important formula, and their standard procedure I have. Once I will solve one problem, then you will get how to solve the problem and how to do the simple calculation. Getting bars of bearing cross section, everyone has understood why it is called as bars of bearing cross section. Immediately you have to write down in your notebook type number 2, problems on bars of bearing cross section. Draw the figure, represent L1, A1, L2, A2, L3, A3, their external force. Write down section number 1, section number 2, section number 3. Total deformation formula, that is total delta L is equal to delta L1 plus delta L2 plus delta L3. And what is the delta L formula? PL upon A. In that, P will remain constant. If length is constant, then it is also constant. If all the sections are made by single material, E is also remains constant. If it is made by different materials, then according to that material, we have to consider the calculation part, or we have to consider that value in the calculation. So draw the figure, write down the formulae. Yes, everyone has understood the concept. समजले सगळ्यांना what exactly bars of bearing cross section is there, that is type number 2. Okay. If you are not understood, you please unmute from your side and ask me the questions. Okay, I hope everyone has taken this heading, figure they have drawn, and the formula in front of you, whatever I have written, that also we have taken. Okay, now we will solve the problem. Okay, so here the statement is in front of you. Sometimes the figure is given, or maximum times for this particular type number 2, the figure is given. Through this figure, immediately you have to check whether it is based on the type number 2 or type number 3. Type number 3 till we have not covered, but to identify the difference. So let us see, immediately you have to write down the statement in your notebook if it is required. If not, directly we can draw the figure directly and write down the given. See, find the total elongation of bar shown in the figure. Find the total elongation of bar shown in the figure below for axial pull of 40 kilonewton. For axial pull, axial means the force is applied along the axis. The figure is given. It is applied along the axis, and pull means whatever the 40 kilonewton force is applied, it is in pulling condition. Means here we can just imagine that if it is pulling condition means it is under the tensile condition. So that pulling word and pushing word, these words are also very, very important. Pulling means tensile and pushing means it is under the compression. Take capital E is equal to 140 giganewton per meter square. Capital E is equal to 140 giganewton per meter square, means somewhat conversion is required here. And now if you look at to the figure, the 3 sections are there and the 3 sections are connected to the each other, and this section is subjected to the 40 kilonewton force at the left side and 40 kilonewton force at the right side. Means here we have to check whether it is type number 2 or type number 3. Type number 2 मध्ये मी काय सांगितलं, तर अप्लाय झालेला एक्सटर्नल फोर्स हा फक्त बाहेरच्याच बाजूला असणार आहे, तर तो तुमचा टाइप 2 असणार आहे. If sometimes the force, some quantity force is given at the internal side, then it will not become your type number 2, it will become type number 3. त्याच्यामध्ये पण असे स्ट्रक्चर असणार आहे, त्याच्यामध्ये पण बार्स ऑफ बेअरिंग क्रॉस सेक्शन असणार आहे. फक्त एक डिफरन्स काय असणार आहे की टाइप नंबर 3 मध्ये काही प्रमाणात इंटरनल फोर्सेस पण अप्लाय झालेले असतील. तर दॅट प्रोसिजर विल बी different. Now you just think about 40 kilonewton force which is applied externally. So it is type number 2. And if you look at the section number 1, here I will write section number 1, section number 2 and section number 3. The section number 1 and 2 are connected to each other. Section number 2 and 3 are connected to each other. And whatever the 40 kilonewton force is applied externally, the same 40 kilonewton force we have to consider in the calculation of section number 1, section number 2 and section number 3. If you check their length, for section number 1, length is having 180 mm. For section number 2, 20 mm. For section number 3, 160 mm. And why it is called as a bars of bearing cross section? Because if you look at to the diameter for the section number 1, phi, diameter is also indicated by phi. Phi is equal to 30 mm. For second, phi is equal to 20 mm. And for third, phi is equal to 40 mm. If the diameters are different, then their area are also becomes different. And due to this reason only, this total bar is called as a bars of bearing cross section. Is for first one, it is having the area A1. For second, it is having area A2. And for third, it is having area A3. एरिया फक्त आपल्याला काय पाहिजे, डिफरंट पाहिजे. मग त्याच्या लेंथ सेम असू द्या किंवा त्याचे मटेरियल वेगळे असू द्या, that length, Young's modulus, it will not matter in the calculation. Important thing is their diameter and their cross-sectional area. Sometimes diameters are given and we have to calculate the cross-sectional areas. बघा काही वेळेस आपल्याला डायमीटर दिलेले असतात आणि त्याच्यावरून आपल्याला क्रॉस-सेक्शनल एरिया काढावे लागतात. काही ठिकाणी डायरेक्ट क्रॉस-सेक्शनल एरिया व्हॅल्यूज तुम्हाला स्टेटमेंट मध्ये किंवा त्या फिगर मध्ये काय केलेले असतात, दिलेले असतात. That's why we have to check or read the statement carefully, check the figure carefully, and then we have to write. Okay, so this is the figure in front of you. So now just think about the given parameters. So P, 40 kilonewton. Okay, so here I have written 40 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. Kilonewton is converted in Newton. Okay, then what is one more given parameter is there? Take capital E is equal to 140 giganewton per meter square. And already I have told, if Young's modulus value is gigapascal or if it is given in giganewton per meter square, त्या दिलेल्या व्हॅल्यूला फक्त काय करायचंय, 10 raised to 3 न मल्टिप्लाय करायचं आहे आणि त्याचं युनिट न्यूटन पर mm स्क्वेअर करायचं आहे. ते कन्व्हर्जन कसं केलंय, दॅट ऑल्सो आय हॅव रिप्रेझेंटेड हिअर. 140 ऍज इट इज. गिगा न्यूटनचं जर न्यूटन मध्ये करायचं असेल तर 10 raised to 9 मल्टिप्लाय करायचं आणि गिगा न्यूटन हे न्यूमरेटरला आहे, त्यामुळं 140 × 10 raised to 9. मीटरचं पण आपल्याला एमएम मध्ये करायचंय, बरोबर आहे. तर मीटरचं एमएम मध्ये करण्यासाठी 10 raised to 3 ने मल्टिप्लाय करावं लागतं. तर खालच्या बाजूला आहे त्यामुळे खालच्या बाजूला 10 raised to 3 आणि मीटरचा स्क्वेअर आहे त्यामुळे एमएम चा पण स्क्वेअर करावं लागणार. मग 3 into 2 it becomes 6, means at the bottom side here you will get the 10 raised to 6. मग हे 10 raised to 6 जर वरच्या बाजूला घेतलं तर होणार आहे 10 raised to -6. मग 10 raised to 9, 10 raised to -6, it becomes 10 raised to 3. But this calculation is not important if Young's modulus is given in gigapascal or if it is given in giganewton per meter square. दिलेल्या व्हॅल्यूला फक्त 10 raised to 3 ने मल्टिप्लाय करा and directly you can write down the unit Newton per mm square. And delta L we have to calculate, that is here we have to calculate the total elongation. फक्त सेक्शन 1 चंच काढायचं नाहीये, सेक्शन 2 चंच काढायचं नाही, सेक्शन 3 चंच काढायचं नाही. And if you see only one Young's modulus value is given, 140 giganewton per mm square, means here we can say that same Young's modulus value will be applicable for section number 1, section number 2 and section number 3. म्हणजे तिन्ही सेक्शन हे एकाच मटेरियलचे काय झालेले आहेत, बनलेले आहेत. जर ते वेगवेगळ्या मटेरियलचे असले असते तर तुम्हाला स्टेटमेंट मध्येच वेगवेगळ्या यंग्स मॉड्युलस व्हॅल्यू दिल्या असत्या आणि त्या कॅल्क्युलेशन नुसार त्या सेक्शन नुसार तुम्हाला तो यंग्स मॉड्युलस व्हॅल्यू त्या कॅल्क्युलेशन मध्ये कन्सिडर करावा लागला असता. बट हियर ओनली वन व्हॅल्यू दे हॅव गिवन. Getting? So now we have to calculate the total elongation, means we have to calculate the section wise elongation. So how to calculate section wise elongation? Let us see. First, delta L1 is equal to, before that just I will write one more statement, capital P is equal to, only one force means capital P is equal to P1 is equal to P2 is equal to P3. Write down in the given parameter also, capital P is equal to P1 is equal to P2 is equal to P3. Similarly, capital E is equal to E1 is equal to E2 is equal to E3. Write down this part also, from figure, write down like this, from figure capital P is equal to P1 is equal to P2 is equal to P3, and similarly from figure capital E is equal to E1 is equal to E2 is equal to E3. Otherwise diameters are different, length are also different. So first calculation, delta L1 is equal to capital P, I will write as it is, length will be different, L1 divided by A1 divided by capital E. P and E, these are the constant parameters, so I have not written 1 but length and area, these are the variable parameters. So P 40 into 10 raised to 3, what is the length for the section number 1? 180 mm, all it is given in mm, so write down only 180 divided by, what is the area? Area is not given, but to calculate the area diameter is given, so here I will write pi by 4 into, what is the diameter? 30 square into 140 into 10 raised to 3. Converted value we have to take in the calculation. Now please do the calculation. Similarly, write down the second formula, delta L2 PL2 upon A2 E. फक्त काय केलं, फक्त आपण लेंथ आणि एरियाज व्हेरिएबल केला. What is the P? Once again same, 40 into 10 raised to 3 into length for second section 200. Okay, diameter 20 mm. Pi by 4 into 20 square, it is very important, and again Young's modulus 140 into 10 raised to 3 is equal to section 3. Delta L3 is equal to PL3 upon A3. E is constant, again P is constant. So again 40 into 10 raised to 3, take converted values. What is the length? It is 160 divided by pi by 4. What is the diameter for the third section? 40. So 40 square divided by 140 into 10 raised to 3. तुम्ही जर एरिया जरी सेपरेट कॅल्क्युलेट केले, pi by 4 40 square, pi by 4 20 square, pi by 4 30 square, then also you can take that calculation values as it is, and then tell me the one by one value. Delta L is equal to delta L1 plus delta L2 plus delta L3. Tell me the delta L value one by one in the chat box. What is the delta L1 value? Total elongation value I got 0.29, but one by one calculation we will check. What is the delta L1? 0.07. I will write here 0.07 mm. Others please check, those who are doing the calculations. Direct also we can do the calculation. Total delta L is equal to delta L1 plus delta L2 plus delta L3. ह्या फॉर्म्युले मध्ये पण सगळ्या व्हॅल्यू आपण पुट अप केलं तर एका स्टेप मध्ये पण आन्सर मिळते, बट फॉर मोर अँड मोर सिम्प्लिफिकेशन आय एम टेलिंग दिस. Delta L1 0.07. Write down the unit mm. Then what is the value of delta L2? 0.18. Please check 0.18, 0.18. 0.18. Yeah, ma'am. 0.18, 0.18, correct. Delta L3, if you have calculated, one answer I got 0.036, 0.02. Please do the calculations properly for the third one. Two answers I got 0.036 and 0.02. Do the calculations properly and tell me the delta L3. What is the value of delta L3? 0.03. 0.03. What about others? Yes, 0.03 is the right, correct. Okay, take it. 0.036 I will consider. 0.036. So delta L1, delta L2, delta L3 we have calculated. Yes, all the answers correct. They do the addition only. 0.07 plus 0.18 plus 0.036. So total elongation of the rod. Now this delta L is the total elongation of rod. It is 0.28, or sometimes you will get the answer 0.29 mm. Depends upon the how much digits you are considering. Based on your answers will be variable, and according to the direction of force, this rod is under tension, means there is a increase in length. So in bracket you can write either T or you can write increase in length like this. Not required to write, but just for your more and more understanding we have to write it. So it's either 0.28 or either 0.29. Please check your answers by doing the additions. Total elongation of rod, section wise elongation we have calculated, and at the end we have made the addition. Yes, 0.28. 0.28, 0.289 means it becomes 0.9. Sorry, 0.29. That this much variation will be accepted, but if you got the 0.25, 0.33, it is far ahead than 0.28 and 29. So try to consider at least 2 digits after the point. If your answer is 0.3564, 0.3546, at least consider the 2 digits. Don't consider 0.3 like this. At least 35 or 356. More than 2 digits we have to consider after the point in the calculation. So your answer becomes more and more accurate. Don't consider only one unit, only one digit after the point. Minimum 2, maximum 3 or 4. Yes, 0.28 mm. This is the total elongation of the rod. I hope everyone has done the calculations and you got the answers section wise and the total elongation. Okay, now the next problem is in front of you just for your calculation. So I hope you have done the calculation for the previous one, and this is the problem number 2. Now you have to solve this problem and you have to tell me the answers. Just for more understanding, I will read the statement carefully for your understanding also, and then you start the solution. Draw the figures immediately. Find the total elongation of bar AD shown in the figure if it is subjected to 85 kilonewton tensile. Straightforward word they have mentioned, tensile. Whatever the 85 kilonewton force is applied externally, once I can check whether it is applied only externally, then it is type number 2. 85 kilonewton tensile force, take E is equal to 200 gigapascal. E is equal to 200 gigapascal. Just multiply by 10 raised to 3, convert in Newton per mm square. So if you look at to the figure, Again, the three sections are there. AB section, this is section number 1. BC section, this is section number 2. And CD section, this is section number 3. Section number 1 is having diameter 30 mm, section number 2 25, section number 3 22 mm. Length is given for section number 1 meter, this is 2 meter, this is again 1 meter. Try to convert in mm. So here it becomes 1000 mm. Section number 2 2000 mm. Section number 3 again 1000 mm. Okay, P is converted in kilonewton to Newton. 85 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. E 200 gigapascal, just multiply by 10 raised to 3. It is converted in Newton per mm square, and we have to calculate the total elongation of rod. So one by one, you do the calculation and tell me the answers. Just for your understanding, here again, if you check 85 kilonewton, we have to consider for the section number 1, section number 2, and section number 3. And from the figure, I will write from figure. Capital P is equal to P1 is equal to P2 is equal to P3. And if you check the Young's modulus, only one value means, once again, all the three sections are made by the single material, therefore only one Young's modulus value they have given. Means here I can write capital E is equal to E1 is equal to E2 is equal to E3. And by taking the reference of the previous problem, whatever we have solved, tell me the value. Delta L1 is equal to PL1 upon A1E. Then delta L2 PL2 upon A3E. Area, here we have to calculate the areas by using the given diameters. Length we have to convert in mm. Sometimes what we have done, P we will convert in Newton, area we will calculate in mm square, E we will take. Sometimes by mistake we are taking the length as it is, 1 meter, 2 meter, 3 meter like that, and your total answer will become wrong. So before solution, convert all the parameters very carefully and then we go for the solution. Then delta L3, second one is delta L2, sorry. PL3 upon A3 capital E. And then tell me total elongation, that is delta L. Now do the calculations. The problem is for you and tell me the one by one values. Delta L1, delta L2, delta L3. Send me the answers in the chat box so I will verify the answers and I will take. Draw the figure, just figure for your reference in front of you. Write down the conversion parameters. From figure also write down this. I have written capital P is equal to P1 is equal to P2 is equal to P3 and capital E is equal to E1 is equal to E2 is equal to E3. One answer I got, elongation length 1, 0.601. So I will write here first answer. Others please check 0.601. Yes, second answer I got same, that is 0.601, means I can say that the first answer is correct, 0.601 mm. This is the elongation of the section number 1. Others please do the calculations properly because calculation part is very important. Sometimes you are able to solve the numericals, you are very well in the concepts, but calculation creates matters. So calculation part is very important. 0.601 mm, this is the correct answer. Second also I got, please check, 1.731. 1.731. First delta L1 0.601, second 1.731 or 1.73. At least 2 digits you have to consider. If you consider 3, 4, up to 2 or maximum 3, it is sufficient. What is the L3? Delta L3. Second also please check, 1.731. 1.731. What is the third? Delta L3. Delta L3 1.12. Any another answer? 1.118 means 1.12. Again 1.118 means it will be 1.12. 1.12 mm. 1.12, 1.118. Any another answer? 1.111 म्हणजेच ते 8 ला आपण 2 ला कन्वर्ट करूया 1.112. So I hope everyone has got these three answers. 0.601 plus 1.731 plus 1.12. Total elongation 3.45. Please check. 3.45 mm. 3.45 and 3.44, it is also accepted, no problem. But it should not be 2.44, 2.45 or 3.38. This is so much difference is there. If you either considering 2 digits after point, 3 digits after point, final answer is only small variations are there, like 3.44, 3.45 or 3.46. Only these 3 variations will be accepted. 3.40 or 3.50, like that variation should not. It will be accepted sometimes, but try to make the proper calculation so you will get the accurate answer. So 3.44 or 3.45, this is the total elongation, means here we can write in bracket tensile, because already they have mentioned the tensile load, means I can say that 3.45, this much amount of elongation or increase in length taking place in the given conditions. Due to the 85 kilonewton force, the total elongation of rod or the bar AD is 3.44 or 3.45 mm. I hope everyone has done the calculations. You have written the things in your notebooks and you have done the calculations. Your responses are also recorded here. Those who are sending the answers in the chat box, your responses are also recorded here. Means some of they are solving. Those who are not sending the answers means they are not attending the lecture. Just they are making the formalities. So try to represent the answers. Okay, so I hope everyone has understood the type number 2, that is problems on the bars of bearing cross sections. 2 problems we have solved based on this. Process is very simple, straightforward, numericals are there. Only you have to check whether it is type number 2 or type number 3. Type number 2 मध्ये तोच section असणार आहे, type number 3 मध्ये पण तोच section असणार आहे. Only difference, in type number 2 only one force which is applied externally, but in type number 2 external forces are also there and internal forces are there. Therefore their process is totally different. So this is the total elongation calculation for the bars of bearing cross sectional areas. So is that everyone has understood the things, what is the procedure, and only one parameter we have to calculate, that is elongation of the bar. Here we can calculate the stress also separately, strain also separately, but they have not asked. Is that everyone has understood the things, that is type number 2. Anybody is having any problem, please unmute from your side and ask the questions. Any problem? Anybody is having any problem? Understood the things? Okay. So I hope everyone has understood, and still if you are having problem, you can call me or message me. I will explain the things once again. Okay. So with this, today we will stop here. Again, one more problem is there based on the type number 2. We will take in the next lecture. Thank you. Thank you very much.